Snow was falling hard that evening in Ottawa, the kind of steady, endless snowfall that buries the streets in silence and forces you to slow down whether you want to or not. As I stood at the kitchen window, watching the flakes drift beneath the yellow streetlight while the smell of reheated leftovers filled the house, I should have felt comfort, the kind of Canadian winter night that makes you grateful for warmth, for a roof, for the person waiting inside. Instead, I felt only distance, a quiet ache that told me I hadn't felt at home in my own marriage for a very long time. My name is Daniel Brooks. I'm 41, a government employee in one of those gray glass buildings downtown. My wife Claire, 38, works part-time as a librarian. On the surface, we had stability, steady jobs, a modest townhouse in Nepean, friends who invited us to barbecues, savings that kept us secure. But behind that tidy facade, our life together had grown cold in ways no Canadian winter could explain. The warmth between us hadn't disappeared all at once. It slipped away slowly, disguised as routine, as fatigue, as busy schedules. Our conversations shrank to groceries and weather. Our mornings became mechanical, and the small gestures that once came naturally, her hand finding mine during a movie, her laughter at my clumsy skating on the Rideau Canal where we first met, vanished. In their place grew a silence that thickened with every season. I tried to fight it in small ways, bringing her coffee from Tim Hortons, suggesting movies, even proposing a weekend in Montreal. But she brushed it all off, and her body language told me more than her clipped words ever could. She leaned away when I leaned closer, looked through me instead of at me, and intimacy had nearly disappeared altogether. I carried that emptiness quietly. Canadians are polite, and I played my role at work and with friends, smiling, joking about the weather, laughing over hockey pools. But inside, I was hollowing out, and no one knew the weight I carried. Then one January night, as snow pressed against the windows and the TV flickered with a muted hockey game, Claire spoke without looking at me and said words that would change everything. Honey, intimacy once a month only. At first I thought I misheard, thought it was a joke, but the flatness in her voice told me she meant it. I tried to laugh it off, but she met my eyes, calm, cold, and said, I'm serious. Once a month is enough for me. Her tone wasn't a request, it was a decree. In that moment I realized I was no longer her husband, in the full sense of the word, but her roommate, her provider, her safety net. The truth I had buried finally broke through. I said what had been building in me for years. Maybe we need to talk about divorce. She snapped up, shocked, accused me of overreacting, pleaded that she still needed me, but not for affection, not for connection. She wanted me for the other things, the bills, the house, the stability, all the comforts of a life she didn't want to lose. And that was when it became painfully clear. I wasn't her partner anymore. I was her utility. Driving through freezing rain the next morning, I replayed her words, once a month, and I need you for the other things, until they cut sharper than the ice on Bank Street. Divorce was no longer an outburst or a threat. It was the only path forward. That night, over soup at the dinner table, I said it out loud with clarity. I couldn't keep living in a marriage where I was only valued for what I provided. Intimacy and connection aren't extras. They are the heart of a relationship, and without them, all we shared were bills, obligations, and silence. She argued that people change, that stability should be enough, but I looked at her and said quietly, stability without love isn't stability, it's prison. For the first time in years, I felt the weight of truth settle over me. She countered with talk of lawyers, assets, and the house, but my mind was already made up. Though I looked at our wedding photo and remembered the woman who once held me laughing on the ice, I knew she was gone, replaced by someone who rationed intimacy like rent payments. And so, as the snow kept falling outside and the city carried on with its polite Canadian routines, I accepted that our marriage wasn't frozen anymore, it was over, and I would rather face the storm of divorce than live as a ghost in my own life.